The topic that I chose was based on the 1965 Immigration Act, also known as the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1965, and also known as the Hart-Celler Act. Immigration in the United States has had many different issues that have come along with it over the past few decades, but there are so many valid reasons that people feel they must immigrate into the country. From wanting to create a better life for their family or to escape their old life that they hated, there are so many good reasons that someone would want to come into the United States. Even though a lot of people would consider immigration to not be good for their country, there are many that believe it is okay for people to do it. One of the more important immigration acts was the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1965, also known as the Hart-Celler Act, as I mentioned before. And these made it possible for immigrants to be able to be with their families again. It also brought labor workers to the United States that could directly help the economy and save refugees that lived in dangerous communities. Part of the reason for this law was to get rid of the previous laws from the 1920s that made it to where only Europeans could immigrate into the United States. The places where these people have immigrated from generally come from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. However, the largest number of immigrants comes from Mexico with around 11.6 million immigrants. Tom Jelton's The Immigration Act That Inadvertently Changed America and James Surowiecki's Immigration Reform and the American Worker both make compelling arguments in favor of pro-immigration policies in the United States, albeit from different perspectives, specifically this policy. In his 2015 article, Gelton explains the why and how of the evolution of the U.S. immigration policy and how it has changed the demographic character of America since the passage of the landmark Immigration Bill in 1965. While Gelton makes this argument, Surowiecki, in his 2013 article published in The New Yorker, argues that a more liberal immigration policy must change, such as one proposed by the Obama administration would actually be more beneficial to the United States economy and contrary to political rhetoric. Does not actually take away from jobs from any native-born American workers. Both of these authors explain very good reasons of why the immigration policy has benefited the economy of the United States, even though they may have taken different approaches of their argument. Gelton begins his analysis that he wrote in 1965 with the passage of the Immigration Act of 1965 by the Johnson administration in Congress. It was initially intended to simply balance the immigration policy with an anti-discrimination policy passed in the previous year that emphasized that nobody should be treated like second-class citizens. The Immigration Act's primary signature, President Johnson, said that he didn't believe that this legislation was a revolutionary bill. Thus, as Gelton suggests, the monumental impact of the bill on current immigration policies in America was inadvertent, meaning that nobody involved with the passage of the bill believed that America should increase the numbers of immigrants from non-European countries. In fact, most proponents of the bill believed that we were considered to be a European country, meaning that the immigrants should have some type of connection to the development of our country, not these separate migrants, poverty-stricken countries, as Gelton said. In a twist of irony, the final version of the bill contained language thought to accomplish a pro-European immigrant goal by favoring foreigners seeking to rejoin the families who came to America. At that time, America was largely populated by citizens who originated from Europe. This small distinction in the wording in this bill achieved the exact opposite effect and changed our country's immigrants' trends and policies in a dramatic fashion. Over the past 50 years, since the inception of the Immigration Act of 1965, America has seen an extreme increase of immigrants from non-European nations who have largely exercised the chain migration policy contained in the act that allows immigrants to bring their families over to reunify. This phenomenon is exactly what the critics, nationalists, isolationists, nativists, and ultra-right-wing conservatives sought to avoid by allowing exactly the people they wanted to keep out of America. This is the point where Surowiecki's 2013 article that debated any further immigration reforms became partially irrelevant. Although there were many that questioned whether or not this Immigration Act would be beneficial to the United States, it was found by Gelton and Surowiecki that it truly did help the American economy. The Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1965 is one of the more important acts to help with immigration rights in the United States.